Hey guys, it's Frank here from Altcoin Buzz, and today I'm really excited to show you this amazing indicator. And now the reason I say it's amazing is not just because it is great, but because I've looked at many other indicators, and while a lot of them are interesting, like the RSI and the MACD and the moving averages, this one outperforms them all. It outperforms them in terms of the number of times this indicator has occurred. It outperforms them in terms of the returns, and it easily outperforms them in the success of this indicator to determine a new Bitcoin bull run. Okay, so I'm not going to go into the details of what this hash ribbons indicator is, but it's an indicator created by Charles Edwards, which relates to the miner capitulation effect on Bitcoin price. So he looks at when the miners are capitulating, or in other words, where they're giving up and selling their Bitcoin. And then after that, when the miners have finished capitulating, you get this beautiful blue buy signal. Now, Charles has already done the work for us and actually created this chart here of the maximum drawdown, I think he meant, and the maximum gains to peak using this indicator. And as you can see, the results are absolutely phenomenal. He estimates an average drawdown of 11% with a maximum gain to peak of 5,378%. So one of the things which makes this indicator so powerful is the number of times in which it has occurred. So we made a video previously talking about a very bullish Bitcoin signal, which involved the crossover of the MACD moving averages on the longer time frame charts. However, that indicator only flashed several times. I think it was 3 or 4 times, but this indicator has flashed no fewer than 10 times. So in order to show you the power of this indicator, which as you can see right now has just flashed the buy signal, let's go to the past to see how it's performed. So based on this chart, you can see that the first 3 times were in December of 2011, May of 2012, and June of 2012. Now that corresponds with these 3 buy signals. You can see here December, May, and June. And as you can see, after we had the signal in December, we already had this nice move up. There was a 100% move, and then we corrected for a little bit, but then this indicator flashed again and again, and that led to the next massive bull run, which led to the 2013 peak of $263. And you can see that it flashed yet again over here. And by the way, this red line over here represents a halving. So of course, after a halving in the history, there's also been significant positive price movement. However, the halving has only occurred 3 times, as you can see here. We have the 1st of December 2012, July 2016, and May 2020. So while it's true that the halvings did see massive price movements to the upside, the buy signal has occurred 10 times, and as you can see from this chart that I showed you before, the maximum drawdown is only 11% with these insane gains if you just wait it out. So we looked at these 3 buy signals here and this 4th one, which all led to this big peak of $263 in April. And as Charles mentions in his article, if you were to hold Bitcoin the whole time, of course, you would have made even greater gains. But every peak that he uses is usually only up to 2 or at the very most 3 years after the buy signal occurs. So again, we have these 3 and then this 4th indicator which led to this massive bull run. Let's see what happened next time this occurred. So back here in February 2015, here as you can see, we had a slight retracement. We saw it occur again and again. And then of course, the thing about this indicator is that it's not an indicator which immediately leads to a massive bull run. It's more like a long-term kind of indicator, which is saying, okay, here are some signs that we are about to enter a massive bull run. And it's a matter of having patience. So for example, if you take this indicator over here, we had to wait, well, it was 250 bars. So I mean, yeah, to be fair, that was, almost a year. So from that perspective, this indicator is not something which is going to say, hey, we're going to enter a bull market right now. But I'll give you my opinion on what is most likely to happen towards the end of the video. Okay, so again, we had these 3 indicators which flashed buy, and then boom, we saw this massive move all the way up to the high, which I suppose some of you guys might remember, of almost $20,000 back in December 2018. And notice that most of this big move up was preceded again by the Bitcoin halving. Okay, so look now. Now we are at this Bitcoin halving again, and we have this buy indicator flashing blue. But before I show you that, I just want to show you another amazing instance of how this indicator just predicted a brilliant move up, which was back here in January 2019. So have a look at this. Over here, the buy signal occurred, and we were at 3,500, and bam, we went all the way up, 300% gain, all the way up to almost $14,000. And here again, this predicted basically the bottom here. Look, we were at basically 7,300. We saw a 43% gain all the way up to $10,500. This penultimate buy signal occurred over here at $7,200 level. And bam, we went all the way up to $10,133. So this buy signal has a very impressive performance. And it's very hard for any Bitcoin bear to look at this and say, oh, well, it doesn't matter because of X, Y, and Z. Now, of course, there are other factors at play. For example, as I mentioned, there have been significant drawdowns. At one point, there was a 42% drawdown from the January 2015 low. So in other words, what that means is that there is every possibility that we will see a dump before making a huge pump up. So despite finding one very powerful indicator which suggests a new bull run, it's really important to look at a number of indicators so that you get an idea of how they compare together. So the first thing to note is that this buy signal flashes blue when there's a crossover of the 10 moving average and the 20 moving average. So the 10 moving average is marked in purple here, and the 20 moving average is marked in orange. And as you can see here, when the 10 crossed the 20, we had this buy signal. Now, the problem with the moving averages here is that we are in a consolidation zone. And as you can see, we had a crossover over here, but the price didn't follow through. Then we had a crossover again. The price didn't follow through. A crossover again and again. So what this tells us is that this moving average signal is not a very reliable one to be looking at. And it is important to note that this hash indicator essentially waits until they think the miners have finished capitulating and then waits for this bullish buy signal to suggest that the new bull market will start. Now, the other thing which is worthy to note is that we have an important diagonal resistance here as well as an important horizontal resistance, and until we've crossed either of these, it's very hard to say that we're going to get into a bullish market. So in other words, there's a lot of uncertainty right now about which direction we go in. The only thing that people really agree on is that there's going to be a big move in one direction or the other. Now, what I want to bring your attention to is the fact that we may see something in between. So have a look at this triangle here. You see this triangle which I've marked in pink? So right now it looks like a pretty good triangle, right? We have this support over here. I'm drawing it from the closes of these candles. We have support resistance up here, and you might think, oh well, if we go in one direction it's just going to keep on going. I don't think that that's necessarily true. I think that there's a very strong possibility that this will just expand even further. So for example, what might very well happen is that we have another move up here, and then we fail to cross, for example, the $9,750 level and just come crashing down. So don't view this as like, okay, well, once we break out of this diagonal line that we're just going to start cruising up. In fact, it's very possible, and a lot of whales have interest in getting amateur traders to think that this is broken bullish and then shorting like crazy at this 9,700 level and bringing it down for a failed breakout to the opposite direction. So what that tells us is that even a breakout of this red diagonal line here is not a super bullish sign, and that we could very well break out of here, either resist at the 9,800 region or even at the 10,000 region without making a new breakout. That being said, I think this is a very impressive indicator in terms of its price performance, and despite the short term not looking amazingly bullish, although it doesn't look that bearish either, I think that it's very important to look at this indicator. And you might think that the title is clickbait, but this really is the most bullish indicator. I challenge you to show me any indicator which has shown at least 10 times and which has had this much in terms of profit as well as such a relatively low percentage drawdown. Now, one final note is that we are in a recession, and there is a small chance that we enter a depression and that the stock markets crash. And honestly, if the stock markets crash, I'm going to see that as a very strong sign that Bitcoin is going to crash as well. Now, that hasn't happened yet, but just as an indication to show you how this can fail, remember over here when we said that the buy signal led to a 45% increase in price? Well, the thing is that, in fact, if you bought over here and you were holding long term because you view it as a long-term indicator, you would have had a huge drawdown all the way down here to 3,800, pretty much a 50% drawdown. So this is one of the biggest drawdowns that this signal had. And this was because of the worldwide financial markets crashing. So again, what I'm saying is that there is a chance that the worldwide financial markets will crash if the S&P 500 comes down again. There's no way really that I see personally that Bitcoin is going to make a move up. But the thing I want to bring your attention to is that this is a buy signal for the bigger picture, okay? So yes, we might see a move down, but honestly, if we see a move down here and we have anything between a 20 and a 40% correction, I'm going to be buying like crazy because this indicator has shown so much success in the past. And also Bitcoin has been in a bear market for basically 2.5 years now. Okay, we had a nice run up between beginning of 2019 and the middle of 2019, but since then we've just given most of this price move away. Look, we went all the way from 14k down to 3.8k, gave away 72% of it, and we still haven't broken that previous high from a year ago. So the markets have been in this sort of depressed state for a long time, and I strongly believe in the fundamentals of Bitcoin, and I think that honestly it's just a matter of time before Bitcoin enters another massive bull run. And the longer that Bitcoin is falling, the more probability that it's going to have of entering this huge pump at some point. Okay guys, that's been it from me. If you want to check out that video I mentioned about the previous bullish indicators, you can click the link in the description above. That also shows some signs that we are going to enter a new massive bull trend. So let me know what you think of this indicator. Are you entering a Bitcoin trade right now? Are you buying, or are you waiting for the dip? Or are you even shorting this right now? Let me know down in the comments below. And please don't forget to like and subscribe, as it really helps to support the channel and helps us to create more content like this for you guys completely for free. All right, that's it from me. I'll see you in the next one.